computer, just in case.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much. I'll exit now on his behalf. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. John Williams, Ron, Peter.
Hey.
Yep. Thanks.
Betty Bradford, Sally. That's not Sally. That's Sally's dad. Leah's dad. Rose iPad. That's Rose. How are you, mate? We got 51 people. Woo! God, lots of dads. VJ, I know VJ. Jason, how are you, mate?
How are you?
Hey, yeah, good to see you, man.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, good, man. How are you?
Happy Father's Day.
Thank you. Same to you.
Very well.
Heaps of other dads. Alisa, Chris, Justin, of course, John Galvin, Tim, my neighbor. How are you, mate? Oh, there's a lot of people without the cameras. Paul Leyland, Shane Dixon, Tony and Simon. Yeah, awesome. He's great. John Ennis there. Hello, mate. How good. Ian Parks. All right. This is gonna be a really cool tasting. I hope everyone has their packs there, and pay a bit of attention. We got speaker view. There we go. We're gonna kick off with a beer, right? So not much to explain on this one. Just like, you know, pull the ring up, and while I chat and make you bored for a little bit, you guys got a very nice frothy to start the tasting, right? Happy day to every dad. Cheers for joining. It's been an amazing day today. So I wish I was outside doing this tasting, like maybe in my backyard, but you know, I won't trust my kids that they will stay quiet. That's, you know, most of us, we don't trust our kids to be quiet. We're gonna start tasting a few different whiskeys with different profiles. And at the end, you guys have been given a little soy sauce fish there with some bitters inside.
Yep.
They're a bit darker than mine. And a little stick of sugar and a big bottle, 50 mils of bourbon or rye whiskey. So that one is for the end. That's the last drink we have. That's our dessert. So what we're gonna kick on first is with the whiskeys. If we kick off with them, I fear a bit if we kick off now with the old-fashioned, we might not make it through the whole tasting. There's a lot of burrs on this one. Yeah. There we got Ron enjoying the beer.
Yeah.
I hope everyone's enjoying the beer. I decided, I was expecting actually to be colder. That's why I chose a stout or a brown ale, which is not, but you know, it doesn't matter really. My idea why to choose these beers is I like to drink beer with my whiskeys. Is as a form of cleaning the palate. You don't see the mixing as a side by side, you know, it's like the beer, it's like the whiskey is the steak and the beer is the chips, right? You cannot eat steak without the chips on the side or the salad. That's a fact of life. Whiskey is the steak and the beer is the salad. You know, and you need a little bit on the side. It's actually good when you taste several different kind of whiskeys to rinse a little bit. So the other thing that you guys should have now is also 4 glasses. I normally recommend that you guys have, with 4 glasses, I recommend that you guys have 4, these are snifters, or you can have some champagne glasses. Champagne glasses. We are particularly tasting 2 whiskeys that are quite strong on profile, but you know, if you don't have a whiskey glass, you can use a tumbler, or you know, you can use a tumbler like that. You know, no problem. And the 4 whiskeys that we have tonight, they are all of very different profiles. They're quite rare. They are all Scottish. They are all small batch, and they are absolutely exceptional. And how are you, Peter? So, all right. To kick off, we're gonna start with this one, the 10,
Unmute.
the Longmorn. The Longmorn. This is basically the Longmorn. Longmorn the 10. This is basically a tasting of different regions of Scotland, what we're going to do today. And we're going to taste absolutely great examples. Not regions, I would say more of styles, right? Pour yourself a little bit of the Longmorn the 10. Everyone's got it?
Yep.
Jono, maybe you got the one there to show everyone how it looked like.
The
little sample.
mine's just handwritten.
This,
Yours probably don't look like that.
okay, that's when the printer failed that day. There we go. Paul has it. How are you, Paul? There you go. That's the Longmorn, 2002. Good to see you, Paul. So we're gonna start with that one. The first thing, I don't know if you guys have been this is the first whiskey tasting you've done online. Many could be. I know for a lot of you it's not. The first thing we're gonna do is not drink the whole sample, okay? Do not drink the whole sample because we go back and we taste with number 2, we compare to number 1, and then we taste number 3 and we compare with number 2 and 1. So don't drink the whole sample. Just leave a little bit on the glass. This is a whiskey from a distillery called Longmorn. Longmorn is owned by the Chivas Group. So Pernod Ricard, Valentine's, you know, it's one of those distilleries that you don't get to see much Longmorn literally on the shelves of any liquor store because there's not really interest. Most of the bulk of the produce goes to Chivas or Valentine's. This is a traditional bourbon style, and I would say that contemporary, we don't talk about regions anymore in Scotland because there's not really that much typicity anymore because there's the Highlands doing the heavily peated styles and there's Islands doing the unpeated, there's Isla doing totally unpeated. So what today contemporary we can talk about in Scotland is about styles, and this is a bourbon style, you know, unpeated, fresh, crisp, easy drinking. Let's have a little noise. Good. Everyone's liking this, huh?
Yep.
Quite sweet and fresh. Yeah. I'm going to spotlight myself now. Sorry. Quite sweet and fresh. All the sweetness come from the bourbon casks. This is not a complicated whiskey. A little bit of salinity at the end. A lot of toffee, a lot of maybe apple, banana, maybe a little bit of cream. Jonah, what do you think?
Tasting notes on this one, I think this is an absolute cracker. I get lots of that sort of fruit as well, a bit of citrus, so it's an orange in there and a bit of milk chocolate as well on the nose for me. Almost those like
milk chocolate, I like that.
Candied nuts, you know?
Yeah. Who else wants to dare and join on the chat? Don't be scared if you haven't had and you know what? When you have the beer on the side, you use the beer as a chaser. You know what is the beer great? To clean up your palate and neutralizes everything. So you don't need to have a big skull and a big, you know. You have a little sip of beer and you basically it's like a reset button. You know, you go smell again. And it's like the first smell that you just had. And when we cross over from peated to unpeated, you will see the beer acts like a total reset, particularly heavy beers, you know. They work as a good reset. Who else we got there that we wants to join a bit on the Brian, you're the father to be. You're doing training right now.
Yeah. Doing well. Tuesday. We're having the baby on Tuesday, so I figured I'm close enough with the father-based tasting.
You're close enough, just about on the edge. Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
What do you reckon about this Longmorn?
Oh, I think it's great. It's so fruity. You know, like, I want to say how it compares to some of the other ones, but it's just a sweet, fruity, getting that confectionery.
Very easy drinking. 14 years old.
Yeah.
It's literally just very, very, very easy to drink. Fruit, banana, you know, maybe like overripe banana or bruised banana.
Yeah.
You guys, Boilermakers, says Alisa. Yes, I love the Boilermakers.
Can I just ask what number this is in the 1 to 10?
This is number 4 in the 1 to 10.
Thanks. Number what?
Number 4. So I explained a little bit about this, why it's called the 10. The biggest French retailer for fine whiskies and probably one of the biggest and most famous retailers for continental Europe, which is La Maison de Whiskey, released this range called the 10, where there's 10 single malts, 9 single malts and 1 single grain on the range, going from 0 to 9, with all of them being a different profile, from a grain whiskey at the beginning till the heavily peated at the end, you know. And this is middle of the road, so light, kind of a creamy, floral bourbon style of Scotch whiskey, single malt whiskey, 100% barley, you know, from Longmore Distillery. All right, I guess everyone enjoyed this one. So now we don't finish. Tastes like caramel chew, says Chris. Yes, this is really nice. We're gonna move now to whiskey number 2, but don't finish number 1. Leave a little bit behind so we compare, right? And remember, we use the beer as a reset, palate reset. Whiskey number 2 is gonna be the Bunnahabhain de Peaty.
Very on board for everything Bunnahabhain in this tasting.
Again?
Just really on board for everything Bunnahabhain.
Really, yes. This is very good whiskey, actually.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So, Bunnahabhain, this is what's called, they call it Bunnahabhain Staoisha, actually. Bunnahabhain Staoisha is the term that they use when they sell bulk whiskey to blenders, and Staoisha is the meaning of their heavily peated whiskey.
Yeah, this one's
Bunnahabhain does unpeated also, you know. So, have a little sniff.
These are always good with a nice cigar too, these peaty ones.
Yeah, they are. Absolutely. Absolutely. And the next one you see is not peated. After this one, the next one is not peaty, but it's a bit bigger and spicy, and maybe I should get an air purifier for my office. What do you reckon, Jonah?
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Loving this Bunnahabhain as well.
This is
Very
fantastic.
mellow. Yeah,
Tips of fruit and smoke.
Yeah.
This is only 4 years old, and I'm going to show you guys here. Only a 4-year-old whiskey.
Wow.
Where are we? There we go. Distilled in 2014, bottled in 2018.
Not very strong. It's very mellow.
Yeah, it is for a peated one. It's actually quite mellow. It's almost got a sweet taste in the middle.
Correct. 40%. Very, 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 very mild, and this is session whiskey. This is, you know, you can drink a lot of this.
Yeah. Drink a lot of any of it.
Very sweet, very soft. A bit of salt at the end. Bunnahabhain normally does as a normal style today, is unpeated. But they've been releasing quite a lot of heavily peated for blenders to use on blends, because most of the other distilleries in Islay have become quite expensive. So I think Bunnahabhain has been benefiting on that and selling a lot of heavily peated malt that ends up in the secondary market in casks, in products like this, which is also a product from La Maison de Whiskey. Just a different kind of range. this is a product a little bit more, let's say, entry level than the 10. Because that's why it's so sweet and so easy to drink, and 40%, and it's aimed for the broader market of consumers. How a little noise? Does anyone want to share? Tasting notes.
No, that's good. It's nice. It's got that sweet middle to it. It's great. It's and it's got that really sort of peaty smell to start off with. It's great.
Yes, that's awesome, Jeff. And you go back to the Longmorn, and still the Longmorn holds up its very fruity nose.
Yeah.
The Bunnahabhain is very smoky. The Longmorn is even more fruity right now. Great color. Yeah.
After that one. Yeah, just so they go.
How good is that? Longmorn, it smells like totally like roasted pineapples to me.
This
And
better.
you go back to the Bunnahabhain, and it's like a charred pineapple, I'd say.
Still quite peaty, the smell, but it's so easy to drink.
Yeah, very easy to drink. Andrew, we are drinking now the Bunnahabhain, the peaty.
Tastes nice. Different drinks. Smelling.
And that smokiness of it is quite nice too.
Yeah, it's very nice, huh? And you see how you can. There is a belief that you normally need to leave the Scotch whiskey that is smoked to the end, and this is not the case. It all depends on the profile of the whiskey. Some of the whiskeys that are too heavy, yes, you do. This whiskey, because it's a light whiskey, is pretty much almost like a breakfast whiskey. You don't need to leave the whiskey till the end because it's smoky. Because we're gonna taste non-smoky whiskeys after this. Okay? I go back to the Longmorn.
No, okay, you don't have that one.
And it's pure cream now. It's more like custard.
Yep.
I didn't do anything.
Oh, he said he didn't do anything.
Bunnahabhain's very interesting. I'm not really, never been a big fan.
What Paul?
The Bunnahabhain, I had the 12 ones that I couldn't finish it. I was like, I did not like it, that mid palate. But this one's different than the two I've had in the past. It's not as, I can hold it down.
Yeah, good. The Bunnahabhain, the regular release. I don't think I have a bottle anywhere here.
It's got something interesting about it that I can't put my finger on it, but on the mid palate is bland, not really.
Yeah.
I could never handle NPT whiskies in the collection. But the Bunnahabhain, just something, not heat, but it's in the mid palate. My tongue just can't handle it. So it just feels and tastes weird. It's not bitter, but I can't put my finger on it.
The Bunnahabhain, we tasted it again this year on a tasting we did earlier on a Bunnahabhain tasting. Actually, it was very underwhelming, the regular Bunnahabhain. It was just like very plain, very average, just watery. All right. Now we are finishing whiskey number 2. We're gonna taste whiskey number 3.
Before we move on, could I just ask about the 4-year-old classification of it?
Yes.
Because like grain spirit has to be rested for a certain amount before it becomes like whiskey, right? And isn't that like 3 years?
Yes. Any kind of grain spirit needs to be matured for at least, depending where. In Australia, it's only 2 years. In Australia, 2. In Europe, is 3. In America, is 2. So to be called whiskey.
So releasing it at 4 years is very much like a statement of like, hey, this is fresh and young and
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
All right, thanks.
Normally, 4-year-olds or peated whiskies perform really, really well when they are young. Usually under 10, they are really, really, really good whiskeys. Then they go for a very dull time between probably 7 or 8 until like 12, 13. And then they become really good at the age of 15 plus. And peat is, that's in my experience tasting. Peat is really nice and fresh when it's young, and it's really bright. Then becomes a bit dull.
You're only supposed to taste it in between whiskies. You're supposed to taste it in between whiskies.
Yeah. What was that? Sorry. But yes, it needs many people not muted. I'm gonna mute everyone. I'm gonna mute everyone, and you guys gotta raise the hands. Allow participants to unmute themselves. Yes, there. You guys mute yourselves and unmute yourselves when you need to talk, and then don't keep yourself unmuted. So we avoid all the background noise. And who asked me just the question just before? Where are you?
That was me.
Yeah, there you are, Dave. Yes. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I didn't know that it went through a dull period.
Well, in my experience,
new
yes.
info for me. That's cool.
You know what? And to be honest, it's not like I have experienced that we were not able to buy very young whiskeys, Islay whiskeys, for a long time, until maybe the last probably 5 years. In the last 5 years, there's a lot of very young Islay whiskeys, and they actually are stunners. They are a lot better than the mid-age ones. You know, they're a lot more bright. They're a lot more. Of course, it's smoke. Smoke as a phenol. It's an aromatic compound that gets lost. So from a physical point of view, every time you open the bottle, and you pour a bit, what also falls that you don't see is aroma and smoke smell, which is stay as gas in this form, right? So the same happens on the barrel. You know, the barrel breathes in and breathes out when it's in the warehouse. So just because the hot and cold makes a difference in volume, when the liquid is hot in summer, expands, pushes a little bit of the gas on top of the chamber, right, the ullage, out, and that is what goes out there is like usually fruit smell and smoke, because of the more volatile compounds. So chemically, that's what you're losing with time. When you produce a super smoky whiskey, after 20 years, it's not smoky anymore. You taste a Lafroig of 20 years, 30 years, and they are like almost non-smoky. But that whiskey was super smoky when it was like 5, for example. All right, a sip of my beer because I talk too much. We got a third whiskey. We got the Odmore. That is the third one of the night. And remember, don't finish your other two because we're going back and forth. The Odmore sherry cask. First field sherry. This is big.
Yeah, as I was going to say, just even with the 3 that we've poured out now, the difference in the colours is quite diverse.
It's amazing, huh?
Yeah, I would have thought actually that the peated one would have been the darkest out of the lot, but certainly not by what I've just poured out of the bottle. Then the Speyside one.
Yes, this Odmore is it's a distillery owned by the Bacardi Group. Odmore goes into Doers. Odmore is a big component on Doers and a lot of other blends. You don't get to see much Odmore released by itself neither. It's one of those distillers that doesn't have like a very famous profile, but it's absolutely stunning. And this whiskey is bottled at 48% in this case. It's a marriage only of 2 casks. Yeah, and bottle of 13 years of age. And this is matured in first fill sherry casks. What it means that it's a first fill sherry cask, for who doesn't know, is the barrels that have sherry in Spain, basically, when they don't use them anymore, the Scottish buy them to fill with whiskey. So the first fill means it just had sherry and now it's filled with whiskey. It's the first fill of that sherry cask after it got empty with sherry. When you empty that, it goes to be a second fill sherry cask, if that makes sense. So put a little bit on your glass. Have a nose. Totally different smell, huh? No smoke, more like caramel, vanilla. Christmas pudding, a bit of Sabaglione or let's say rum and raisin. Who wants to share some tasting notes?
Yeah, agree with all of that. You pretty well summed that all up. It's particularly the rum and raisins. When you say that, yeah, you can actually note it. Note that in the.
Is that Cadbury's rum and raisin? Chocolate. It's like.
I know. I only had some the other night, so it's pretty fresh.
It smells like literally, or when you.
It's Christmas in September.
Christmas in September. Yeah. It's when you have that where you leave the sultanas in the cupboard for too long and they get all like what's called crystallized. They get crystallized. The pack of sultanas looks like a brick. You can. It's like a chunk of that kind of smell.
Like it smells like grandma's cooking her Christmas pudding.
Yes, Paul.
You get gruppers that are also in the sherry cask that taste a lot like this, actually.
Yeah. So back to the origin of why to use barrels. Imagine barrel. I think the barrel was one of the best inventions in the history of technology, right? There was no way to have any kind of vessel, large container vessel, ever until the invention of a barrel, because ceramic could only get to certain size. Ceramic, you could make it like, the Egyptians and everything, they could make those amphoras. They're like, 20 liters, 30 liters, 50 liters, but you cannot move them. Impossible to move an amphora full. You need to put it on top of a cartwheel or something like that. The barrel was the first invention that actually can get full, put a bang on it, and roll it over. The amphoras will crack. It's in the history of technology, the creation of a barrel was a big change. You can transport liquids from one city to another, and they become a very precious thing because not every tree can be used for barrels. So what happened is how all these things end up being used, sherry cask, port cask is the English will, England is one of those countries that is a conundrum. They are one of the biggest consumers of wine, but actually they are not a producer, or they've never been a producer until recently. So when they used to buy wines from Portugal, and from sherry, from Jerez, from Spain and everything, and they moved the wines in the barrels, those barrels might end up in England and not shipped empty back. It's pointless to ship. You're shipping air, So the Scottish used to keep the barrels just to fill it with whiskey. That's the story why it was a cheap vessel. Basically, there was no interest for the Scottish to use it because, this is a sherry cask. Let's get this sherry. That is now. Back in the day, they were just buying a cheap vessel because buying a new barrel from the same provenance is going to be double or triple the price. Back on the day, the Scottish were just getting a cheap vessel that they left over, in the Yeah, I got someone calling me. Sorry, the phone is ringing in the store. What do you guys think of this one? Canny Scots as always, but it's true. It's not just that. The Italians is the same. You know, the Italians. Anyone would use anyone would use the vessels that were the cheapest that you could get. You know. Questions? We can continue.
Oh, no, for me, I can really smell some good wood in it.
Yeah.
The barrel.
The barrel.
Some really good wood in it.
That's exactly the sherry, you know. That's exactly the sherry. Let me see if maybe there's someone without the link. No. Oh no. Maybe someone without the link to connect tonight. I have no. My guy can't connect.
I reckon this Odmore's cracking. When we tried it in that artist collective tasting with the whole range a few months ago, this one was one that stood out for me and like really stood up against all other really cracking whiskies. I love your tasting notes on the nose with the Christmas cake, and I get a little bit of apricot and that sort of thing as well. Like there's a little bit of fruitiness to it. Going back to the Longmorn as well, to me that's like it's got that sweetness still, but also going from the Odmore back to the Longmorn, getting a little bit of pear, like orchard fruit sort of stuff as well with the sweetness there now.
It's go back to the peated one, and you will see what I mean when the amount of Christmas cake. And then go back to the Longmorn and let me just pass invite, copy invitation. I got by someone was calling me. They couldn't get in. They needed another password. There we go. There you go. Sorry about that. All right. Meeting ID, I'm passing some. Meeting ID and password. There we go. All right, let's try number 1 and number 3 now, side by side. What do you guys think?
Sorry, I finished number 1. I ran out.
It's okay. You're forgiven. It's Father's Day. I forgive you.
I really get what you're saying about the Jerez barrels in this one. That you're really getting all that rum and raisin and
syrupy,
it reminds me a lot of the Rutherglen muskets and topakes that we get here in Victoria. But something I've been curious about is because I've had a few whiskies that are aged in Jerez casks.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like this one especially, you really get a lot of that sherry characteristic.
Yeah.
And I know you said about being the first run, or it might be second or third run in a sherry cask. But can you get? I mean, there's obviously different types of sherry that are put into these barrels in the first instance, right? So do you ever get that specified in whiskies? Whether like what they're
it normally does.
It
normally does. In Australia, you don't normally see that. In Scotland, you do. They normally specify if they are, first fill sherry cask, second fill sherry cask. It's the same as making a tea, or many teas with one bag, right? You can make one tea and it's a good tea. Second tea is all right. Third tea is just not great. Fourth tea, just dirty water. Fifth tea. So imagine all the sherry, the wood is probably, 5 to 6 centimeters thick, right? The sherry inside will come to maybe 2 centimeters inside that will basically the sherry will sieve into the wood, get absorbed there. When you empty the sherry, what's in there doesn't take a long time to fall out, let's say, right? When you fill it fresh, which means it's not being recuperated or recharged inside, you fill it with new make. So by osmosis, all those 2 centimeters full of sherry will sieve into the liquid, right? And will give a lot of flavor, you know? If you empty that liquid and then you fill it again with more new make, there's not much concentration there because for osmosis, a lot just sieve already, you know? And then you empty that and you fill it again and there's not much. Just at the end, it ends up like a container basil, not a lot of influence. Also, what changes a lot is if you recharge the cask. The Australians love to do that. I think because most of the coopers here make it for wine. On wine, you do need to recharge the cask every, you know, maybe like 4 or 5 years. After four uses, more or less, you need to recharge the cask because you do need in wine the tannins from the wood. In whiskey, you don't. But because most of the distillers here purchase the barrels to coopers that do recoup barrels for wine, they get the coopers recharged. So imagine you got sherry, so you buy the barrel, you know, the Rutherglen Estates or a winery in Rutherglen or Seppeltsfield, or, you know, sells the barrels they don't use anymore to the cooper. They empty them, they shave them, and they recharge them. What was inside, there was a lot of sherry that's been there for years, and you want to recharge them, you burn all that. So you're gonna get a lot of that. This caramel that you're tasting now, most likely tasting burned. It's the same flavor, but just burned. Yeah. So I'm not a fan of recharging the casks for whiskey. I like fresh because it's a bit more gentle, and you don't smell burnt sugar or burnt. Burnt cream is basically what you smell. Burn everything. But for example, the Americans for bourbons, they love it. They super burn everything. You know, they do the famous alligator char, and they like super heavy, super charred, and that's like the flavor of the season for them. I'm more of I more like this more subtle notes, you know. Yeah, I'm gonna read a couple of the things that were here. Alisa was saying number 1 is Pineapple City. Yes, pure pineapple. Smell number 1 is like confectionery pineapple now. It's like those little yellow pineapples that you get in the lolly shops. Ah, nice. What's the favorite at the moment?
Odmore for me.
Odmore? Nice. Let's ask. Jeff, which one is your favorite?
Oh, I'm going to peaty ones. I've always been a big fan of those. Yeah, they're just, you got to like them, or you either like them or you hate them.
Oh, they hate them.
Yeah, and this I'm just going back to that while we're speaking. So yeah.
Yeah. So we got you like the Bunnahabhain, the middle one, and then we got Tony and Simon like number 3. David also liked number 2. Andrew likes it a lot more. Yeah. There's not right or wrong, you know. This is the thing that the whiskey is good. The whiskeys are good. It's just a matter of your preference. These are different styles. So what we got here is a bourbon style. This we got peated style, Isla style, mildly peated style, and we got a
Only how many letters to talk.
Heavy sherry style. Yeah.
I think the Bunnahabhain.
The third one.
Mark likes the third one. That's a nice bar you got there, Mark.
Yeah. Went for something different, but I'm actually a Bunnahabhain fan. I find the extra alcohol in the Odmore just overpowers me a little bit.
Yeah.
Which makes me worry a little bit about the Morlack, but we'll see how we go. I like the Morlack normally, so.
The Morlack is a very special one. And now let's put whiskey number 4. As I said, keep some because we compare. And we go and visit the Mortlach now, which is a very special dram. This is quite a limited release, a very old release from the Whiskey Exchange. Mortlach, 22 years old. As it says here, it's a marriage of 4 casks, only 4 barrels. Very difficult to find Mortlach. Mortlach, it's never had a. Mortlach is a distillery, is a core of Johnny Walker. It's a meaty, very, very meaty, big, rich whiskey. He's never had his own identity. Like they never created a brand for Mortlach, which is a shame because it's one of the best distilleries they have. Is Mortlach is what gives Johnny Walker a lot of the meat palate, right? There is a triangle there of distilleries for Johnny Walker, which are Benrines, Mortlach, and Linkwood, and they are all very kind of similar but different. You know, Mortlach is a big, fat, heavy weight of whiskey. You know, gives you volume, gives you. However, this is a very, very good whiskey. It's a senior whiskey, what I call an exceptional dram. Pour yourself a. And it's bottled at cask strength, so 54.2%.
Oh.
Real whiskey. And you're going to see the difference now between these and these other whiskeys, which are more like session.
54.
That's hot as fuck.
It's big, you know, but it makes you grow hair in your chest. But
yeah, Jose, I'll just take back what I just said. This is now my favourite.
Good. This one is exceptional.
Yeah, this is my favourite. This is a great one.
This is good, huh? See the difference between whiskey that is normal whiskey and when you get an exceptional whiskey, an exceptional cask, and the difference between, you know, young and 14, you know, it's not always like this, right? This is an example that this is like a setup, right? I set up this. These whiskeys are actually great. They are very nice. And I kindly tomorrow put any of these whiskeys against anything that is on a supermarket. And I can outperform them with this, I'm 100% sure. But then when you put a whiskey that is a senior whiskey, you see the difference. And you can taste any of these 3, heavy sherry, peated, or bourbon cask, and this one will not even blink an eye. You won't even taste on top of it. It's like, you know, this is actually exceptional. And tastes very little bit, you know, who is here not used to drink cask strength, 54% alcohol, you know, take it slowly. If you want, put a bit of water. When I mean a little bit, mean 3 or 4 drops. I would not do it. I won't do it because I don't enjoy it normally. I think it loses a lot, but yeah. Have a little nose, how sweet, rich, there's a lot of wood, there's cinnamon.
Just a touch of honey for me.
Yes, Manuka honey, or leatherwood honey, maple syrup on the mouth. It's hot, but your mouth gets used to the heat in a while, right? It's not like it takes forever. Okay.
The warmth is awesome.
Yes, it doesn't burn. It just warms.
Awesome. The warmth,
right?
That's a good winter one, isn't it?
Exactly. This is great. This is, you know. And if you decide to be too hot, you just grab your beer. You got your beer there. Grab your beer. Now you go to the smoky one and taste the smoky one. It's like drinking water. It's just nothing. You go into the Odmore. It tastes sweet. The nose smells only wood now. Doesn't smell a lot of that Christmas cake. I don't know if you guys are doing that comparison. Taste the Mortlach, and you go back to any of the 3 before. And this has taken everything out of all of them, you know? This is the exact example when your palate, your brain is smart. Your brain just, you know, and I do this I do this with a lot of in a lot of my tastings, and I always ask this question. Maybe someone can answer. No one can never answer me this. Or maybe I had a life that was quite curious about taste and everything. But how does, if you drink Coke and then you have ice cream, you drink Coke after ice cream, how does Coke taste? Can someone tell me that?
I got my view on Coke, but it's probably not. I won't share it with everybody here because it might offend some of the young ones.
No, but it's okay. If you drink Coke and then you drink ice cream, and then you drink Coke after ice cream, how does Coke taste?
Terrible.
Just tastes like bubbled water.
Yeah, terrible.
Tastes sour.
Yeah.
That is because your brain cannot adjust, right? You just taste it. You taste Coke, which is sweet. You taste ice cream, which is sweeter than Coke. And when you go back to taste Coke again, your brain can adjust it. Your Coke tastes sour because in a very short amount of time, your palate, as humans, it cannot go back to less sweetness. So you will taste sour. So this is when you taste, imagine a whiskey that is like super concentrated and a lot of flavor, and you taste the Mortlach, you go back to the Bunnahabhain and it tastes like bland. And then you go back to the Odmore and taste just like wood. This is like this is your ice cream that takes everything out of the sweetness of the Coke, if it makes sense. You know, it's hot, yes, but it's, you know, this is pure whiskey. Someone that I like is Dave Phillips, a very good friend. How are you, buddy? Happy Father's Day.
Hi, Jose. I was just about to do a post, but there's a beautiful picture of the color gradation across all that, because I've still got most of mine all still intact.
Oh, nice.
And it's a lovely way to see. I'm just about to post it anyway, but you'll see the lovely changing color.
Yeah.
And Owen really raved about that Mortlach, and I guess that's why I'm on the tasting.
Yeah.
And I broke your rules because I had the old fashioned to start with, so the rye, the dad's hat. I always start with an old fashioned, but that Mortlach. It's very generous of you to open it for Father's Day, Jose, because I know it's a special bottle, so thank you.
No, you're welcome. You're welcome. It's not one of the super most expensive ones, you know, but it's a quite a rare one because these ones got released quite a while ago, so they are pretty much gone from everywhere. Yeah, we were lucky to find a little parcel of them, so it was pretty good. Who else wants to talk about this one? Who else like this Mortlach?
Yeah.
Ron, do you like this one? Good, huh? Yes.
I do.
SD, I heard you liking this one, huh? Yes, good.
Yeah, this is definitely the punchiest, and it's quite sweet as well a little bit. But I don't know. I think they're all mixing together at the moment. But this is definitely the nicest of the lot.
This one is the sweetness is natural from the alcohol, you know. But it's as you taste the other ones, this is probably the sweetest of all of them, you know. I find it just as an outstanding round whiskey, you know. Like it's you see this on a blend. Why Mortlach? Do you see this in a Johnny Walker? Why would be? Imagine putting a blend together is like putting together a puzzle, and Mortlach is like the frame, right, of the puzzle. You know, you need something with big personality to carry that. You know, then other components that are key are, of course, Caudilla, Lingwood, Talisker, but you know, Mortlach is a very big, meaty, you know, a lot of personality on this whiskey.
I thought the sherry cask was going to be the sweetest one, but then I had this one, and it just seems to overpower the cherry one. The sherry one just seems to, it just disappears in the background after you have this one.
Totally. And this is actually, it has a little bit of sherry. This is, this doesn't have the description. I think there was a bit of sherry and there was a bit of bourbon cask in this. I think there were like 2 and 2. Two sherry casks and 2 bourbon barrels on this one. That's what it's called, marriage of casks.
We're two big Johnny Walker Red drinkers. Can you and loving the Mortlock. What else is? Do you know what else is in the red that they blend it with?
The red is mainly grain. You know, there's very little malt in there. It's just mainly just grain whiskey, so corn. Diageo has 35 distilleries, so very difficult to know what is there. Most likely a lot of everything. The 35 distilleries, you know. The one that there was the recipe was kind of more, let's say, kind of public, was the green label. This green label was apparently a blend of Cragganmore, Talisker, Scragganmore, Talisker, I think it was Mortlack, and another distillery. But this would change. It's impossible for to know, you know, owning so much. But in the case of Mortlack, that's why you don't. That's why these distillers you don't get to see. Mortlack has Cragganmore has a brand. You know, you can buy Cragganmore. I think it's a 14-year-old, and you got the distillers edition. You cannot buy. You just can only buy Mortlack in duty free. There's these perfume bottles, like, you know, square, rectangular, that you can only buy it maybe for a few years now. But before that, you could never buy Mortlack. And there's a lot of other distillers that are like that. You cannot buy an official release, unfortunately. Yeah.
So you have it at your shop?
Yes, I do. Yeah. We
how much for a bottle?
This one is around $550. So it's not a very expensive one, but it's, you know, not a cheaper one either. You know, and
but Mortlack in Dan Murphy's now with a 12 and a 16. Like I bought the 16 as a duty free initially.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and so I've had that a few times now, the 16.
Yeah, and that actually has been in the market only for maybe like 2 years, right? The duty free one has been maybe for like 5 years or something like that. But you know, duty free market is normally experimental. It's believed that duty free always had experimental brands, acquisition products. You know, there were products were tested on duty free. If they work, they go to core range. Still, like, there's no like you know, Cragganmores or Lagavulins. We have Lagavulins since 1980 releases. So there is a profile of Lagavulin that we know, you know, or Lafroig has a profile since the, you know, 1950s, even earlier, that we know. This is more like they're creating a profile right now. And actually, I must say, in the last 5 years, they're actually showing what they want to show you of Mortlack. It's not maybe what the distillery represents, if let's say, you know. And now, as you guys have seen all this, many of you might not know what's independent bottlers. We're making a bit of time. You guys drink a little bit more before we do the old fashioned. We do the old fashioned. This what you guys have seen right now is independent bottlers. Many of you, it's the first station that you do with us. These are independent bottlers. These people are shops like me, like my shop, and they buy cask of whiskey from the distilleries or from blenders or from on the open trade market of casks, and they bottle it with their own brand, keeping the name of the distillery, right? And what might seem like just a buyer's own brand or like an Aldi process is literally, you get to taste sometimes the best whiskeys there is in the world of independent bottlers. It's Jono has heard this story from me for a long time. The
muffin story.
The muffin story. Yes. Independent bottlers basically is people that get to choose a cask, usually an exceptional cask. Usually it's people that get to have a relationship with the distilleries or with the warehouses, the traders, and they get to pick something they really like. Every cask of whiskey in a warehouse is totally different. even if they were filled at the same time, if they were filled with the same liquid the same day, you know, they all end up different after many, many years. And normally when you buy independent bottlings, which is what we have the most in the store, is when you buy specialty things that are the rarities. And as being one cask, you're talking about one of 300, one of 400 bottles, you know. In this case, these are not single casks. They are all small batches, you know. I think, yeah, they're all small batches, but this when you get, let's say, if you go to the market, if you need to buy, you know, 50 kilos of apples, you're not gonna choose your apples. You just buy 50 kilos. If you're gonna buy only 1 kilo of apples or 6 apples, you choose the best ones, right? That's what they do, the blenders, the independent bottlers, when they buy casks. Yeah, if that makes sense. And for the distilleries, it's just a, what can I say? It's just another transaction. There's not really much difference between selling one good cask to a private, you know.
Jose, can I just ask you, over the last couple of years, the Tasmanian whiskey industry has been scooping some, you know, world titles in the whiskey world. What do you see that as? What is it that's making them getting up those high echelons of awards, and why is it that they're doing that?
First, not taking anything away from the Tasmanians. I think they make excellent whiskey. They put a lot of effort. First of all, they put a lot of effort on what they're doing, and I think part of the award represents the effort they put in the industry to grow it as a category, which is probably the biggest effort they do, besides the kind of whiskey. Then it's taken many years for them to perfection what they're doing. You know, there's a few distilleries which are the ones that are most reputable today, that are doing excellent things. There's other ones that are learning slowly, and there's other ones, you know, that are learning of their mistakes. But I do truly believe that the awards are valid. It's they not just represent the quality of the whiskey; it represents the quality of the whiskey and the effort the Tasmanians have been putting on distillation, particularly on whiskey. You know, I think they're doing great things. We got a really good relationship with Tasmanian distilleries. For me, my favorites to me are Sullivan's Cove, Spring Bay. I tasted a few things from Old Kempton, which are amazing. I haven't tasted heaps of others. You know, it's been years I don't drink any lager, or I haven't tasted nothing in a while. You know, but I do truly believe they are. Overeem back on the day was awesome too. So I do like the Tasmanian whiskies. Yeah, and the awards, you know, it's a.
I have to say though that we've moved a long way since the old Corio 4-star.
Yeah, Corio. Wow, the Corio 4-star. That was poison. It's close to.
Yeah.
But it's yeah, good. This fortunately we had these distilleries like Sullivan's Cove that have changed the board for everyone else, that put Australia on the market, in the world market. You know, distilleries like Starwood that are doing the same thing. You know, yeah, and they imagine these people just learn with the guard. You know, now there is an industry where they are. Dave Hines says the 5-star courier or courier. Yeah.
Pennsylvania, American.
Probably the fact that it's gone out of business is probably a significant sign of the quality of it.
Yeah. The back here in Port Melbourne, there was one of the malt whiskey companies that was doing the Corio whiskey. Down here in the apartments on the big block of apartments on Pickle Street. And that was purchased by Seagrams, I believe, or some sort, you know, back on the day. They still have like bourbon whiskey bottles painted on the side of the building, like with the heritage about. You guys still have Mortlag? How good is the nose?
Yeah.
It's like super rich. It's very interesting when you taste the Odmore. It's a baby compared to the Mortlag. Even you know, it was big, it was heavy, it was hot, the Odmore. You taste the Mortlag and the Odmore is just a baby. And well, let's make an old fashioned. I don't know how many of you haven't made an old fashioned before. Not many, huh? I'm gonna get some ice and I come back. You guys, everyone there, please grab a tumbler and get some ice on the tumbler. I'm gonna get some ice from the sink and I come back. Now, after the ice,
Just a few ice.
you're gonna grab your soy sauce. You're gonna grab your soy sauce fish and your stick of sugar. Right? We're gonna put the stick of sugar on the side to get on the bottom. And now we're gonna put the soy sauce fish, which are bitters, on the side. And you grab your 50 ml bottle of That's Hat Rye or Jailer's 8-year-old bourbon. And you pour the whole sample in there. Now you grab a spoon. This is a man's spoon.
So is this one.
That's yes. That's a grab a spoon and like the bartenders do with the you can put your finger up there like this.
We remember. We know what it tastes like.
And you rotate it.
No, it's not.
Good. This is what's called an old fashioned. After stirring, don't lick the knife. Everyone's got the old fashioned.
Maybe he didn't put the whole
Salud.
joyful thing.
No, it's not.
Yes.
How good is that?
Wow, that is phenomenal.
Jose, sorry, the old prostate wasn't lasting too long, so can you go back one and add the ingredients for me?
No problem, Jeff. Yes. First, what we're gonna do is you're gonna get a glass and put some ice on your glass, and you're gonna squeeze the little bottle of bitters, which I don't know where I put it. The little soy sauce fish that is bitters. So you squeeze the.
Hang on, I'm just trying to unwrap it.
Yeah.
That's another task.
Yeah. This one is.
No. Right, so I put the stuff in it.
Yeah, you put the this is bitters.
Yep. Done that.
Yeah, and now you empty the sugar stick on it.
stick of sugar.
Mhm.
Sorry for the other 50 people that are watching this. Yeah.
Oh, good, mate.
Oh, good, mate.
I just had an urgent call of nature.
Yeah.
Make room for a bit more. Right now, stir it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you stir it, and you got ice in there, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And now you pour your bourbon in there or your rye.
Yep. No, done that.
Yeah. Okay. Stir it as you salt the sugar, and you mix the bitters with the sugar.
American.
Righto.
And
That's
there
it.
you go. That's an old fashioned.
Oh, well done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sorry to everybody else.
No need to be sorry. We're all here. We're all dads. We're here to have a good time. Or sons. We're all sons. For sure, we're all sons. But
Yes.
you know,
Magnificent.
Jose,
Magnificent.
there's a few that are not dads yet, but
Jose, the Starwood distillery make a pre-bottled old-fashioned.
Yes, they do.
Of which I've had a couple of bottles, and with the greatest respect to Starwood, whom I love and adore, even as a Tasmanian, this is better because it's not quite as sweet.
Yes.
Now, maybe I've stored the Starwood incorrectly or taken too long to drink it because I keep going back to my single malts. But this is a little bit more subtle and not quite as sweet.
Yeah, there's a lot of, I agree, sweetness in that stuff as well.
Yeah,
I think this is a great.
Right, it's always a lot sweeter than whiskey.
Yes, and the thing is that Starwood would do it. I would reckon they would do theirs with either malt or wheat. As I send everyone rye, it's a lot more spicy and drier, a bit more tannic. So you know, or some of you who will have Jailers bourbon, which is an 8-year-old Tennessee whiskey, which he has is quite dry too. So I would reckon these kind of whiskeys are a lot better for old fashions, you know, so you don't get them too sweet. Yeah.
Maybe Jose, we can go down to Matt Galvin's in the chat, and he's a very good cocktail bartender in Melbourne at Teto. I might unmute you there. Can you tell us what makes a good old fashioned?
Love.
Love.
How are you, brother?
You're there at the bench there.
Love, and make sure you're using a great bourbon or rye or scotch. Don't be too, reserved on that. They're really, because that's the main thing you want to display. You know, the bitters and the sugar, they help to up it all up. So definitely make sure you're using, a great style of whiskey.
Yeah. What's your favorite for old fashions? What do you, when you what do you guys use at Teto for old fashions?
At Teto, we're using, at the moment, it was Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
What I like to do, which might sound sacrilegious, is using a lemon zest instead of an orange zest. Because I think as we are becoming more conscious with cocktails or being quite educated in that regard, having something that's a bit out of the norm is exciting. And so the surprise in itself gives a lot of excitement to the customer that might come back. Even having any classic and just having a different garnish is actually really cool. Really cool. So yeah.
That's awesome.
What
it will be, let's say if there's no money involved, what will be your favorite whiskey for an old fashioned?
Ooh.
But you cannot say Papillon Winkle. You're not allowed.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not allowed. You guys will be like a normal shelf. Up to $120.
Mixtures.
Yeah. Nice.
Mixtures rye in particular.
Rye.
I think the sweetness really complements what you're trying to prove with an old fashioned by having like a sweeter whiskey cocktail.
Yeah.
that's my most favorite rye whiskey. So definitely there.
That's good.
And also include orange bitters too. I think that's understated. Yeah. So if you're able to make the request, definitely go for that too.
What we did for everyone tonight, I did my own blend of chocolate bitters with orange bitters. We did a concoction of orange and chocolate bitters.
It's fantastic.
With old fashions, I like the Archie Rose chocolate rye malt with chocolate bitters and the orange.
Nice.
The chocolate orange with the chocolate rye. Fantastic.
Nice.
Very nice.
Have you guys tried the slow and low whiskey?
Oh, horrible.
Slow and low? No. What is that?
It's got orange and honey in the whiskey. It's a rye whiskey in there. So if you like a sweeter old fashioned, you can roll with that one with the orange bitters.
But you have to add your own rye to rye it up a bit more because it's too sickly sweet.
Depends on how sweet you like your old fashioned.
Yeah.
A lot of the old fashions that I've had are so sour that you almost like you just had like a sour kind of warhead in your mouth. This is fantastic. I've never had an old fashioned this, not sweet, but just really quite nice in your mouth to drink.
Yeah.
So this has kind of brought me back around to actually having old fashions, because the other ones they were too strong. Maybe it was just poorly made. I'm not too sure, but this is really quite nice.
Maybe
fashions got me in the first place. I had old fashioned with Melbourne moonshine, the egg, and that's almost 2 years ago, and it was downhill since then.
Yeah. I love rum old fashions. I absolutely love rum old fashions, and using like Navy strength Navy style rums, continental rum, like that's my like things like Guyana or Trinidad rum, Angostura, El Dorado, things like that. I like low phenol on my old fashions, quite all those dark, sugary. It's a drink you can do a lot of damage. Old fashions. They drink pretty well. Jonah, what's your favorite old fashioned?
My favorite old fashioned?
Yeah.
I like going with the rye as well, and orange bitters. The Gospel is a really good rye, really good. Making me an old fashioned. This is super tasty. I've got the you've done a good job with the little bitters concoction mix you've come up with there. It's pretty good, but I'm still just taken aback by this Mortlach as well.
The Mortlach is sensational. I still have a little bit of Mortlach in here. So, this is Paula's asking me what is my favorite rum. I do not really have a favorite myself. Anything El Dorado does, I like. It's very difficult to talk about rums, about brands. Being the geek I am, I will talk about stills. My favorite still is the Diamond Still at El Dorado. It's a bit of a Navy style, very rich and heavy rum.
My favorite.
It's like a dry Diplomatico. What? Die Bunnahabhain, Peter. How are you, Peter?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm here with Mary, but she's out of screen. That is my favourite.
Die Bunnahabhain.
Yep. But I will introduce into my family the what I term the Christmas one with fruitcake in it, with the berries. I'm not sure which one it was, but I'll be back to your shop to source the Christmas whiskey for everyone. Yeah. But this one for myself.
I know.
And I would like to share with everyone, Mary's been serving up salmon, dipped in a wonderful sauce, and it's been the perfect accompaniment to the whiskey tasting, because it hasn't detracted from any of the tastings.
Say hi to Mary from me. I'll give her some whiskey for you next time she's in the store.
Yeah, perfect. And I'll give her my credit card to.
Let me put it on the screen so I can take a photo. I took a screenshot.
Yeah, good, mate. Put that credit card up there right now.
and the CC. Don't forget about the CCV. Yeah, we need the CCV.
Mary will share them.
Peter's a customer that's been. He's almost like a friend now. Peter's been coming to the store, and Mary, we've been coming to the store for almost 10 years now.
Yeah. It has been.
Yeah, you have no kids back then, I remember. Olivia is 9, I would say, yeah?
That's why I was going to you.
You started coming more often.
So it really has been a journey of alcoholism and
don't throw me under the bus.
No. It's fantastic, but the whiskey is great, and this one is my favourite.
Yeah, that's it. The PT one is awesome. The PT one is.
Sorry, Pete. I couldn't see that one. What was it?
The Bunnahabhain.
One was being with B with too many letters, more than the alphabet.
That we could do a competition now. How can pronounce these Gaelic names? Yeah. Jeff, are you good? Are you good with Gaelic names?
No.
No. But Jeff, you must be.
No, I'm not. But just alphabet. That'll cover everything.
You give me. I give you let's. I give you one and you see if you can work out.
If you can pronounce it.
Here it is.
Okay, Bagora.
No, this one. Let's see if Jeff can do it. Then David can. You can pronounce what's on gold down here. Let me just put here.
Let me zoom into you a bit. I can't quite see it. Hang on. Yeah,
no, it's not me.
I'm trying to get used to this IT stuff. This Zoom stuff is just black magic. It's right. So, what am I looking at? Glengarioch.
Glengarioch.
Oh, Glengarioch.
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 Yeah, that's good. Who was that?
Glengarry.
Glengarioch.
Glengarioch.
You've got to have the guttural stuff.
No, Glengarioch.
Alan. Glengarioch.
Glengarioch.
Am I right?
No, very well. But it was
right, next one. Next.
When should I come and pick that up, Jose?
No. This one is mine.
I know where your shop is.
This one's for the children.
I've got an Irishman who can speak and pronounce it. I'll bring him on. Hang on. Here he goes. Here's an Irish.
Let us see it.
There we go. Hang on.
Let me closer to the camera.
Yeah.
The golden name.
Glengarioch.
Yes.
Oh, it sounds
very well.
Isn't that beautiful?
No, Jose, you know it's pronounced Glengarry.
The Scottish say it Glengarry. Glengarry. That is
Glengarry.
I'm picking up.
No, hang on. Sorry, you asked me to pronounce it in Australian, so I did. And now you're saying Scottish. I think you're cheating it a little bit there.
I am.
Gaelic.
Hey, you can't do the Australian. It's Glengarioch.
Glengarioch.
Okay.
Okay, let me just
I think that's
pick
what I
another
said.
one.
Glengarioch.
What can we do?
The one that's C, I always find funny to pronounce.
Which one?
The Kaol.
Yes. Or this one. This one is a nice one with CHs and everything.
Yeah.
In red. Well, there we go.
Broccoli.
That was a good one.
Wouldn't work for me.
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
Rich Laddish.
Bruichladdich.
It's a Bruichladdich.
Can we arts while we're at it?
Right, oh, bloody Bruichladdich, lads.
After four whiskeys, a beer, and an old fashioned, we can pronounce anything. Yeah, that's been.
Tons, Jose.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, I've just tried this one here. That's the Aberlour. Aberlour. Very nice. Very, very easy to drink.
Let me just go where you, because I can only see myself on the camera. Go again.
So,
Show me there we go.
I guess
Spotlights. The Aberlour.
it's quite impressive. If you want to be Virginia, you be Virginia. But where did you get that
12-year-old.
from?
That's good whiskey. I like Aberlour.
But you've got it at Casa de Vinos.
Yeah. That's a heavily sherry one. It's the Peter Tobermory, said David. This one is good. Yes.
Hold it up again.
This one. Let's see. Who can guess the name in?
Okay, 12-year-old. Yeah. To get the Abuna.
Yeah.
Let's listen to you and get the Abuna Calstroy.
Hey, Jose.
Yeah.
Is there so you were saying before, like with some of those early whiskies, that the 4-year-olds, you actually preferred them in a lot of ways. Is there a sweet spot with the ages of the whiskies when you're choosing one when you're down at your shop?
No, I choose everything on taste. In my store, you can taste anything pretty much. We got close to 200 bottles open. So it's about picking. The thing is, like, what I mean is, I think maybe like 5 to 6 years ago, it was not used to be able to find young whiskies. You couldn't say young Islas. The standard Isla was 10-year-old for Ardbeg and Lafroig, 12-year-old for Bunnahabhain, Caol Ila, basically, and that was pretty much it. Slowly they've been releasing, and everything started with duty free, releasing non-age statement whiskies in duty free, and they were actually quite successful. So since then, I would say they've been releasing a lot of younger styles, and now the proof of that is Ardbeg releasing the Wee Beastie as a 5-year-old. I haven't tasted. I don't know how the whiskey tastes or anything, but it's they also, of course, cheaper to make. Less carrying the inventory for 12 years. You release it at 5. But also, there's been a lot of blends that have been happening, and there's a lot of off-the-market barrels that come from those blends of young whiskies, and we've been able to find a lot of young Bunnahabhain, particularly young Bunnahabhain and Caol Ila. They're stunning. We had some young Lagavulins also. We have had some Lagavulins 7 years old, Caol Ila 7 years old, that were absolutely stunning. Like this for a 4-year-old whiskey is great. Bunnahabhains, we had several this year of between 4 and 5 years old Bunnahabhains, and they were all, but the heavily peated ones. The unpeated 4 or 5-year-old might be undrinkable, right? Because there's none on the market, to be honest. I haven't seen any unpeated Bunnahabhain from any independent bottlers or anything, so it must be undrinkable. The peated one, because of the so much smoke, it's actually quite pleasant if you like that profile. But Jason says you need a refill. Well, get into the cupboard. I can't do much. We're locked down. Jason, keep taking questions if you guys want to.
And I was going to ask as well, can you recommend any? So I'm sort of fairly new to the old whiskey, but what's your thoughts on the blended whiskies as well, and recommend any good ones?
Yes, I'm not a massive fan of blends. I'd rather drink Monkey Shoulder or Famous Grouse, sorry, Naked Grouse or Monkey Shoulder at $50, you know, than a blend. I'm not a fan of grain whiskey. Blend is malt and grain. Grain being in Scotland is corn. In elsewhere in the world could be rye, wheat, anything with malt, right? With barley. I'm not a fan of corn. I don't like corn whiskey, so don't like blends. I'd rather spend on a naked grouse or on a Monkey Shoulder $50, and you know, that's probably good standard.
Jose, what's your view on the Irish whiskey where they're mandated where they're triple distilled?
Yeah.
I love some of those Irish whiskies. They're as smooth as anything, you know, and even the commercial ones like the Jamisons and some of those really cheaper ones. You know, they are good as a triple distilled one, and you can notice a difference in them. So, I guess, what's your view on the Irish whiskies?
I can't drink Jameson. It reminds me of Jack Daniels, and I had a really bad experience when I was 17 with Jack Daniels. I think it's the only time I threw up for 2 days in a row. I never had done that after that. But I even can pick when I ask for a Scotch and Cork or Scotch and Dry or something, and they put Jamesons on it because of the component on corn.
I agree. And Jamesons
I can taste it against Valentine's, Chivas, Johnny Walker, or anything.
And I agree with the Jamisons, and I just threw that one out there as a commercial brand. But you know, things like Tullamore Dew and some of them.
I love the Tullamore Dew is really nice.
It's excellent. It's an excellent Irish whiskey.
Redbreast is my favorite Irish.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Redbreast.
I'm just interested to see what you say with the triple distilled as opposed to the double distilled with a lot of the Scottish and other whiskies.
Yes. Yeah. I like the Irish whiskies are more similar than the whiskey number one that we tasted today. They are very fruity. You know, they are really aromatic and pretty. And now you mentioned I got this bottle some time ago. That looks like 1960s Tullamore Dew. You know, that's quite an oldie. We might open this one next year on an old and rare one.
So I'm just trying to open that up so I can get a bit of view of it.
Yeah, that's
not going to work anyway.
That's from 1960s, I reckon, with the kind of closure it has. Yeah.
Unopened.
Unopened. Yeah. It comes with the Irish coffee recipe. You know.
Great.
No,
that would be fascinating to actually see what you reckon of that.
Yeah, there's some Irish whiskeys. Actually, some of my favorite whiskeys, and we don't have a lot of Irish whiskey in the shop, but I actually do like really old Irish whiskey. It's as fruity as you can get. You know, as the fruitiest, and they're amazing. Particularly all the old Bushmills.
I guess for me, it's about the third level of distillation that. Really makes it quite smooth.
Yeah, that is the triple distills are the the Tyrconnells and all those all the Bushmills ones. For example, the Redbreast, all the Middletons, they are just single pot. They're not triple distilled. What they do is they don't malt the whole lot. You know, they use I think 20% unmalted barley on the wort, you know, stunning still, you know. And what Teeling is doing now, which was the old Cooley distillery, the old Cooley's whiskeys, those are now stunning. What Teeling is releasing today, you know, is absolutely sensational. Yeah. Alisa says she thinks there's 3 whiskeys in a home bar. The rubbish you give to a mate who mixes it with cola, an everyday blend you have with ice, and a nice whiskey you sit down. Exactly. A friend used to tell me that about these wines, about in Spain. He was saying in Spain there is 3 kinds of wines. The one you drink with your friends, you know, that they don't appreciate anything, the one you drink at home with your family, and the one you give to the doctor, being like the top category as a gift. You know.
So Jose, I've got a question, and I might open the floor a little bit.
Yeah.
The sit down, relax. You're at home. It's your own bottle. What's your poison? What's your bottle that you would that's just sitting there in your your crystal? It's there. It's been just chilling for a little bit. What is it that you want to drink at the end of the day?
Good question.
You know, that's a good question. I normally drink. Sometimes I drink, sit down and drink. I got too many bottles of whiskey open, so I don't. So what I show you. I normally when I drink tequila. That's my poison. That's what I was making Bloody Marys or Bloody Maria.
Well, sorry, Jose. When are you going to do your tequila tasting? Because I was about 19 years of age and absolutely had a bad relationship with tequila. So I'd be interested to get into a tequila tasting type thing like we've got tonight.
We did one. I did a private one last night for a group of people, and it was actually really fun. That's one of the things that I just, let's say, reassured it yesterday that a tequila tasting is the funnest thing you can probably do. Tequila has that.
Jose, you know, the tequila you're holding at the minute, mate, that sent me into COVID about 2 years ago.
Jason, you love these too. I know that for sure.
It cures.
What is it?
The white is heaps better than the black as well.
Yeah.
What tequila is it? What tequila is it?
This one is called Clase Azul. I show you the label because I peel it off.
Oh, all right, boast about it, John. You know all about it. Go on, tell us about it.
No, Jono has it. Jono, I can.
I've got plenty of them. These ones have got.
He's turning into
stuff.
furniture.
This is how many I go through. I have to make them into vases to justify it.
You only bought it for the vases, didn't you?
Yeah, exactly.
He's his father's son, Jeff.
What? So is it a sipping tequila?
Yeah, this is a sipping tequila. Yeah, this is a sipping one. Maybe we should do something about this and do a.
Mate, you should give it a little.
Can you put the name in the chat? Can you put the name in the chat?
So of course. Yeah, the name is called Clase Azul.
The bell ring, mate.
I got the name is
Clase Azul, and go down and Casa de Vinos if you can have a try of it as well. Always
Can I a little background on this tequila?
Have you what?
I've got a little bit of background on this tequila, how it's made.
Oh, good. Yes.
Because I'm a big fan of the Clase Azul.
Hang on, let me just
ceramic vessel with this beautiful lid on it. Is that all the villages in the region that grow the agave that goes into this recipe? The one village makes the tequila, and then they send it to the next village who makes the ceramic bottle for it. So they put it in and they send that to the next village who paints it and puts the little metal decal on the front, and then they send it to the next one that does like the lid and the packaging and stuff, and they all do it together.
That's almost correct, but it's very good that you have heard it. Yeah, right. It's almost, but it's good. It's like there is the village that makes the ceramic is called. It's a little town out of Mexico City called Santa Maria de Canchesda. Basically, it's the Mexicans, the native Mexicans, the indigenous Mexicans. They were highly specialized tribes, right? So the guys that do ceramic, they don't do crops. The guys that do crops, they don't do hunting. Right? Then you got the Aztecs that were just like fighters, and it was just killing everyone and oppressing the rest. So to create a product like this, the only place they could do it is in a place where the native tribe, or not tribe, I would say the indigenous, the native indigenous were ceramic makers, which is the several, but they one of the artisans, they knew we had a workshop. They started in the little town of Santa Maria Canchesta. That's where all the ceramic is made, which is outside the tequila appellation. There's no tequila appellation there. So basically they got to make the ceramic there and transport the bottles back into Jalisco, which is the state where they make the tequila, and they fill them there. But every single bottle, as you said, is actually hand painted, and it's all made by indigenous, and this is the real deal. Every single bottle is slightly different, you know, and it's and today they do it with the labels actually peel off, so you can have a vase, you know, it's not a bottle anymore. What you kind of buy it's just a very nice vase. But I'm Dave, I'm amazed how much you know about this.
Jose, I'd be interested to participate in a one of these
tequila sessions
tonight with tequila, because as I said, my last memory of tequila wasn't a good one. To be quite honest, it was not a good one. So I'd be interested to actually have one of these with a tequila type theme to it.
We should definitely do a tequila session. We've been thinking for a long time to be a good tequila session. Maybe we can, Jono, we need to get this off the ground, tequila.
We can make it happen. I think everyone wants it, Jose. And
we need to do a margarita and tequila session. We need to do a tequila margarita session. I reckon this is the nail on the coffin. We need to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know. I'm not. Look, I'll be quite honest. I'm not a big fan of cocktails, and your cocktail there tonight was great. But I've got more interest in the stout that you actually gave us there. Yeah. That's another question down the track. But certainly the tequila night with some good quality tequilas, and I mean, I the only thing I know about tequila is a rotten hangover, and I'd like to think there's more to it than that.
Not off this.
It's one of those things.
The white one doesn't actually give you a hangover.
No,
it
doesn't.
Guys, I was
one of my customers.
So everything gave me a hangover then.
One of my customers actually blames me for his children because of this one. He called it the baby making tequila. Yeah, he has a pub.
I'm not going to buy that then.
Not going to buy.
I'm not buying the white one or the black one?
Yeah, and it has a little. The
white or the black goes up.
Bell on the top, like you go.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, this one is that's the bell of trouble. When you hear that too many times.
You get a photo like this. Yeah.
How much does one of those set you back? One of those bottles?
Mezcal tasting.
Now it's 240. At the shop we're selling it for 220. You know, we had to pass on a price increase.
About 80 if you've done the whiskey course.
Yeah, and
it's cheaper than a baby.
I was talking with actually the
50, 42,
on production.
42.
They have
the problem with it. I can't quite get the earplugs in there.
Oh, we get these guys have around 200 people painting and making ceramic for them. They was just saying they had around now 40 people in the factory with COVID, another 20 with symptoms, so they have they are home. So they are basically only working at 60% capacity. They have they don't have inventory. They haven't been able to keep inventory because of increasing demand for the product, and they have several states in America without supply. Yeah. So today is one of the most important tequilas there is in the market, if not the most, let's say, the biggest luxury brand today. But the product is absolutely stunning. Like from a technical point of view, you can't fault it. It's like yummy. So, Jonah, this is a big. We gotta do this tequila.
They're gonna have to, Jose. And it's funny. Like I reckon, it's one of those things where we've all had maybe like some sort of experience on tequila, and the cheap stuff, the $40, $50 bottles don't do the spirit justice, and people drink it with salt and lime. But there's actually like such an amazing artisanal side to really good tequilas like this that is so similar in whiskey in many ways. So
yeah,
we'll have to do one.
Let's do it for the 10th anniversary celebration. Let's pick up.
Are there any tequilas that you would suggest that they're a little bit on the cheaper side?
Yeah,
you can get good tequilas for.
Because I've had a few, and normally if I ask for a tequila at a club, I'll get maybe sort of the mid to top shelf, and I'll have it without the lime and nice. But I don't normally ask what it is.
I reckon Bomba's nice sort of good. Yeah.
My picks for a tequila that is not gonna cause any harm to your head in the morning, and you're gonna have a great time, is Tromba. That's an easy pick. It's a $70 bottle. Not expensive. Tequila is the most expensive drink, right? If you compare any kind of base spirit, tequila is the most expensive of all the base spirits. Base gin, base rum, base whiskey. Tequila is always more expensive than that. And you don't want to go below because you pay the consequences. Like this is the one cheap gin, you're right. Cheap whiskey, yeah, okay. Cheap tequila, you're stuffed. You're like in for a hell lot of pain the day after. So it's the only spirit I would say that you want to at least spend a little bit more, right? And I think this is a great everyday, tequila. So I like this. You know what? I was drinking all day today. Not all day. Just while we were cooking. Tequila with
yeah, right.
Tequila, you squeeze a grapefruit, one shot of tequila or a shot and a half, you squeeze one grapefruit in there, and you top up with lemonade, and that's it. With a dryish lemonade, diet lemonade, or I had Fever Tree lemonade myself, but and that is beautiful. That is just a nice, with the sun we had today in Melbourne. We haven't had this sun in a long time on a Sunday. So.
Yeah, Jose, like, do you need to mix it with anything? Like, what I'd like is a nice tequila that I can actually mix it with maybe water, ice, or whatever it is, rather than a sweet lemonade. It's a bit like, and sorry for all of those out there that do it and drink that the Mexican beers that need to put lime in it. I figured that if you need to put a fruit in it, it's probably not worth drinking in the first place.
No, it's like I don't. It's not my it's not my drink white tequila neat. I don't drink white tequila neat. So if I'm gonna drink, but if I'm outside drinking while barbecuing, I like a long drink. So that's why I drink it with grapefruit and lemonade on it. But a splash of lemonade. We're talking about like just to give it a little bit of fizz. Maybe in a glass like this full of ice, I will put this amount of lemonade. Only that. Just to give it a little bit of fizz and a little bit of sweetness to the grapefruit. Not to have. I use the lemonade not to have to add any other sweetener or anything. So if I want to drink neat, I drink this Glass Azul. If I drink neat, I drink that. I'm lucky because I import it. So.
Jose, most people here probably won't know, but back home we used to do tequila with squirt.
Oh yes, with the lemon squirt.
Yeah, squirt, it's like your 7-Up or your Sprite, but it's a grapefruit flavored soda. That with tequila is perfect.
Yeah, yeah. You just got me in there when you said squirt. It's not 8 o'clock yet. 9 o'clock.
Thank you for today. The wife's making a Father's Day dinner, so I got to run. But thank you for putting this on, and for all the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. Thank you again.
Thanks,
very
Paul.
much. I'm looking forward to. I'm going to say November, maybe December.
Yes. Thanks, man. Thank you very much for joining.
But yeah, thank you very much again for this day.
Take care, man.
All right.
Mark Dempsey, he's been cooking all day. Yeah. I made a ceviche early in the morning, and then I started barbecuing.
I was lucky. I got a homemade cherry pie and some crying children.
Nice.
Good. I got whiskey, so that made it all good.
No.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thanks, mate.
Next time.
I got the best gift ever. I got a Weber, and my kids gave me a new grill. Like, I can throw away the old grill that was like sticky ass, and this is a new stainless steel grill. You know, it's like, you know, one of those things that you never think about, like a gift. Socks, underwear, yes, they're great. They always come handy. A new grill for the barbecue is almost like a new car. I feel like you got a new car. It's like amazing. And my son looks at me and says, "No more dirty meat."
I got prostate relief that I need to take, so I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Just to share my personal issues with everybody who I know don't.
I'm gonna call it there too. I'm gonna go for a walk down to the beach. But thank you, Jose. It was really good. All these different scotches, whiskey, fantastic.
Good chat. Thank you for joining, man.
All the information, everything. It was even the learning how to make a proper. It's been good. It's been great. The old fashioned, even that, just tasting a proper old fashioned, it's been really quite nice. But thank you very much. I'm sure I'll probably show up once we have a little bit less restrictions in Melbourne. I'll probably show up to your shop, say hello. But thank you very much.
You're welcome, man. Thank you very much.